See Josephus Jewish War, 3, 437-9, 5. After a burial the women customarily visited the grave, to weep and mourn. Joe 11. 31. A funeral meal seems to have been served sometime during the mourning period and, in some instances, appears to have been made into a special feast. Ho 9. 4. Joe 16. 5, 7. Prohibitions involving mourning. On occasion God's people as a body, or as individuals, were instructed not to mourn over the death of certain ones, such as condemned wrongdoers. La 10. 1, 2, 6. The prophet Ezekiel was commanded to adopt none of the signs of mourning for his deceased wife, thereby serving as a portent for the Israelites with him in Babylon that they would be so stunned that they would not mourn the divine execution of judgment on Jerusalem for its unfaithfulness. As 24. 15-24. Jeremiah received somewhat similar instructions. Joe 16. 5-13. Certain mourning practices were forbidden under the Mosaic law, including the inflicting of cuts in the flesh or causing of baldness on your foreheads. 19. 28. 14. 1. And the misuse of tithes in connection with the dead. 26. 12-14. For certain members of their immediate families the priests could mourn openly, but the high priest was restricted from doing so. 21. 1-6, 10-12. A time to mourn. Ecclesiastes 3. 1, 4 states that there is a time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to wail and a time to skip about. In view of all mankind's dying condition, the heart of the wise ones is shown to be in the house of mourning rather than in the banquet house. EC 7. 2, 4. Compare PR 14. 13. Thus, the wise person makes use of his opportunity to express sympathy and give comfort, instead of ignoring such an occasion in favor of seeking pleasure. This helps him to keep in mind his own mortal state and to keep his heart in the right attitude toward his Creator. Valid motives for mourning are set forth in the Scriptures. In addition to the death of loved ones, G 42. 38. 44. 31. Detestable and God-dishonoring practices of false religion are a cause for sighing and groaning. As 9. 4. Compare 1 Cor 5. 2. And grief is rightly expressed because of one's own errors. PS 38. 4, 6-10. Jehovah urges those who have drawn away from him. Come back to me with all your hearts, and with fasting and with weeping and with wailing. And rip apart your hearts, and not your garments. Joe 2. 12, 13. Compare Judges 4. 8, 9. Elsewhere, also, stress is laid, not on the external expressions of grief or mourning, but on the inner stirrings and pain of heart, marking genuine sadness. PS 31. 9, 10. PR 14. 10. 15. 13. Mr. 14. 72. Joe 16. 6. Even Jehovah speaks of himself as being heard at his heart. GE 6. 6. Compare Isa 63. 9. God's Holy Spirit can also be grieved. F4. 30. Since that Spirit works in God's servants toward the producing of fruits of righteousness. G 5. 22-24. Those who fail to appreciate this divine provision, who resist its working, and who go contrary to its leading are, in effect, grieving it. Compare Isa 63. 10. 1th 19. A balanced view of mourning. In the time of Jesus' earthly ministry, mourning was still frequently carried on by the people with much outward expression and accompanying noise and confusion. Mr. 5. 38, 39. Though Jesus groaned within himself and wept on a number of occasions. Joe 11. 33-35, 38. Luke 19. 41. Mr. 14. 33, 34. Heb 5. 7. There is no record of his employing the other more ostentatious expressions already described. Compare Luke 23. 27, 28. His disciples likewise express grief and mourning. Mount 9. O textoi acute miritra longo. Mouth 448 Child's death. David got up, washed, rubbed himself with oil, changed clothes, prayed to Jehovah, and then requested food and began to eat. In explaining his acts to his surprised attendants, he stated, "Now that he has died, why is it I am fasting? Am I able to bring him back again? I am going to him, but, as for him, he will not return to me." 2 Sa 12. 16, 19-23 Later, however, he needed help from straight-speaking Joab to pull out of his state of deep grief over the death of his son Absalom. 2 Sa 18. 33. 19. 1-8. Though all creation keeps on groaning, the sufferings of the Christian are minor compared with the glorious hope ahead. 8. 18-22. 1 P1. 3-7, and the promise of the resurrection enables him not to sorrow just as the rest also